Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let us proceed with Chapter 4, Organizing the Business Enterprise. In this chapter, we will examine factors that influence a firm's organizational structure and discuss the building blocks of organizational structure as well as the differences between decision-making in different types of organization. Hence, at the end of this chapter, you should be able to discuss the factors that influence a firm's organizational structure, explain specialization and departmentalization as two of the building blocks of organizational structure, and describe centralization and decentralization, delegation and authority as the key ingredients in establishing the decision-making hierarchy. Let us first take a look at what is organizational structure. Every company has its own organizational structure, as businesses require structure to grow and be profitable. So what is organizational structure? Organizational structure is the specification of the jobs to be done within an organization and the ways in which those jobs relate to one another. It outlines how activities including task allocation, supervision, and coordination are directed towards the aims and goals of the organization. It also determines how the roles, power, and responsibilities are assigned, controlled, and coordinated, and how information flows between the different levels of management. It helps the employees to see where they stand in the organization. One of the easiest way to understand the structure or to illustrate structure is in terms of organizational chart. Its purpose is to illustrate the reporting relationship, or is known as chain of command within the organization. Given an example in figure 6.1, if you look at the boxes, each box represents a specific jobs. The green line shows the solid line in which it is defining the chain of command. Chain of command here means how jobs relate to one another. Let's take a look at the example here. Okay, so this is the organizational chart for contemporary landscape services. If you look at there are three managers over here: the retail shop manager, nursery manager, and landscape operations manager. They are reporting to the owner or the president of the company. And if we look down to the landscape operation, they have one manager for residential and another manager for commercial. So this is what we call as the organizational chart, in which the employees in the company see where they stand in the company. When a company wants to set up a new business, the business managers, the business owners, they should pay careful attention to designing their company's organizational structure. The establishment of the organizational structure requires very careful consideration of a number of factors. Among the factors of organizational structure are mission, strategy, size, internal environment, and external environment. Okay, so a structure depends on these factors, on these determinants, okay, to determine whether which type of organizational structure that they need to adapt to. As for example, rapid growing business. They will need to adapt to the flexible organizational structure as they need to respond to changes in the environment and the strategy as compared to a more stable organization, just like the government agencies with only modest growth goals and a more conservative strategy. So this kind of company, they will most likely function best with functional structure, for example. Okay, and then the second factor of organizational structure is strategy. Strategy plays a very special role in determining the outline of authority and the flow of communication in an organization. Okay, so strategy plays an important role. So we need the organizational structure depends on the strategy of the organization to adapt to which kind of organizational structure that they want to apply. And then as the size of the company getting bigger, the number of employees getting larger, the revenue of the company getting higher, okay, there will be chances of the company to change their organizational structure, okay, based on the size of the company, okay, the number of the employees, the revenue that they gain at that particular time, right? The smaller the firm, the more informal and loose becomes the interpersonal contacts and relationships, but there will be otherwise in the case of big concerns. And for both internal, external environment, internal is actually related to the corporate culture of the organization that might affect the decision to apply which kind of organizational structure. And for the external environment, there are few factors that might affect the external environment that will affect the decisions to go for which organizational structure. So among the external environment factors are the domestic environment, global environment, technological environment, political, legal, social, cultural, economic environment that we have learned in chapter 1. All right, so this organizational structure is very important, as poor conceived organizational structure will result in sluggish, inefficient communication in the organization that might affect the performance of the organization itself. The building block or the components, the elements, the factors of organizational structure. The first step in developing the structure of any business, large or small, involves 3 activities, which are specialization, departmentalization, and establishment of a decision-making hierarchy. Let us first discuss about specialization. So what is specialization? Specialization is determining who will do what. It is a who. So in the organization, who will do this task? Either it is a manager, the supervisor, the executives, the employees, who. All right. So specialization is the process of determining who will do what task within the business. Okay. So individuals with specialized skills are assigned to perform specialized tasks. Right? In small organization, all of the tasks may be performed by only one person, the owner. Why? Because it is a small organization. The owner may become the manager, they may become the human resource manager, the marketing executives, the procurement manager, they will become the accountant. Okay? That is for small organization. As the organization becomes larger, the need for specialization increases. Okay? Here comes the terms job specialization, the process of identifying the specific jobs that need to be done and designating the people who will perform
who will perform the job. Okay. Managers break down the job into several smaller jobs. Let me give you an example of an airlines company. In airlines, some specialists schedule flights. Okay. Other book passengers. Some may fly the planes, which are the pilots. Okay. Other deal with passengers, luggages and cargo. That is in airlines company. There are pros and cons of specialization. One of the pros is the jobs can be performed more efficiently as they are the real expertise in their jobs. For example, marketing tasks. We may refer to the marketing expert to help us in marketing new or current invented product. Yeah, but on the downside, this specialization can lead to boredom on the job as the jobs are too narrowly defined and over specialized. When the job becomes boring, it leads to dissatisfaction and loses interest.